Welcome to Gabbin Games. KM0 says, I love milk. Do you know what? My mom and dad were so worried about me. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Gabbin Games. My mom and dad were so worried about me because I was a very picky eater when I was a wee lad. And what was weird was that, you know, I was grossed out by so much food that I wasn't eating. God damn it, Jack. Hang on. I'm trying to get this tweet sent. Yo, so-and-so's. Hang on. And anyway, and they says to me, they go, okay, I tell you what, the kid's got to be drinking some milk. Let's do this. Let's make sure that he will drink milk by paying him $5 for a glass of milk. And so my mom and dad did that. Every night they tried to give me $5, and they said, if you drink the milk, we'll give you $5. And I couldn't do it. Here's what's the fun and the problem about having the ADD. The fun about the ADD is that it can spin you off in crazy places. The bad thing about it is that you don't always want to go there, especially when you're doing a show about video games. But KM0 said, I love milk, and here we are. Jaffy's going to join Pokimane in the copyright strike races. I'd like to join Pokimane somewhere. That's as we used to say back in Vietnam, that's a hottie patati. But yeah, I did see that she was suspended for a couple of days from the Twitch. I used to drink milk, says Spazbo, and only milk. So fuck you. Well, my parents aren't paying you any money because they're no longer living. Mom insisted I couldn't leave the table, says Doug, till I ate my veggies. I hid him behind a curtain for 2 weeks until Mom smelled and found the mountain of veggies. Then she ground them up in the blender and poured it into my butthole. I was grounded. Doug, good Lord, your mom sounds like a fucking nightmare. I bet you eat your veggies now. There's old Scotty Crawford. If anybody wants to know from where I hail, Scott Crawford is my nephew from Birmingham, Alabama. And let me tell you something. He knows more about the NFTs and the cryptos and all that. There was a tweet that went out this week by Mike Shinoda. Fuck it, we're going to jump right in. Well, that was supposed to be at the end of the show. It's going to be at the beginning of the show now. That's ADD, baby. But he knows more about it. He was telling, fuck you, Bukkake, too young for me. You know what? Fuck off. I'll tell you what. If society at large wants to get together and say the age of consent needs to go up to 30, or there is a fine, I'd consider the argument. I'd listen to people talking about it, and I'd say, well, talk to me about that. But don't fucking come at me when I'm a legal human being and she's a legal human being. And tell me she's too old. She might be too young. I'm too old. Fuck you. I have to tell you something. We are going to talk video games, I promise. Listen to me. Alabama, thank God they lost last night. I don't really care for Georgia all that much, but I like when the Crimson Tide lose. Okay. Oh, God, Jeffy, there's so many stories in this old brain pan. Fuck you, James Bond, you piece of shit. Listen to me. Not people, if I don't put this on the screen, they're like, why are you talking to 007? It's this guy named James Bond. So it doesn't matter. I'm watching Being the Ricardos, okay? I'm watching Being the Ricardos. Which is the Lucy, Ricky Ricardo thing. And there's a line in the movie that J.K. Simmons, who, as you know from a lot of things, he's wonderful, but he was J. Jonah Jameson and all the Spidey stuff. And he plays, if you ever watched I Love Lucy, he plays, I think it's Fred, who's Ethel's husband. Okay, and they're all out on the soundstage or outside the soundstage towards the end of the motion picture show. And he's talking to Lucy and the woman who plays Ethel, and I think like a writer. They're all women, and he says, he basically is telling them this story. I don't really understand the context totally, but he says the first time a woman, or he says a girl, the first time a girl, but he means like somebody you can date, calls a man old, a part of that man dies. And that hit me pretty hard because I've never minded growing older. I'm very happy. I'm happier now when I'm 50 than I've probably been in most other ages. But I do remember when that happened to me, and it is video game related. So just fucking settle in, bitch. It was at Bartlett Jones, and wonderful artists who some of you guys know, some of you guys have interacted with on some of our streams in the past. Andrea Daly, who is now working with the art director from Bartlett Jones, Steve. Come on, now I'm getting old. What's his last name? Steve, big guy, great guy, super dude guy. Steve, the fucking Steve, man. I don't know I can't remember his last name. Steve, god damn it. Anyway, she's working with Steve. She's working with me, and I'm sitting there, and I bring up Back to the Future, Back to the fucking Future, the movie. And I'm quoting something from it. And she looks at me, Andrea looks at me, she's like in her early 20s or mid 20s, I don't know how old she was. And she looks at me and she says, wait, what? What is that? What are you saying? And I said, oh, Back to the Future. And she didn't say, oh no, I don't know that. Here's what she said. And she wasn't being mean. And she wasn't trying to be silly or flip. This was just her natural response. I said, oh, that's from Back to the Future. And she looks at me and she says, you're so old. Oh my God. So when I'm watching the fucking Bee and the Ricardos, you goddamn right, when he says that line that something dies inside a man the first time a girl tells him he's old, I think what it is, here's what I think it is. Not that I ever had any, other than just colleague affections. I think Andrea is wonderful, a great artist and very nice human. But I was never I never even thought about Andrea that way. But whoever it is, I mean, unless they're probably a relative, it puts you in a headspace of going, oh shit, that chapter of me being able to play this field, is now maybe more like this field for the most part. So, again, by the way, I have ADD, and then started talking about milk, and then Bukaki, he said about, somebody said something about Pokimane because I was playing the Caillou song. And then Bukaki's like, she's too young for you. And then this became about Ricky Ricardo and then Steve and Andrea. Not Steve Caillou, you fuck. Fuck you, Bukaki. Bukaki says, cool story, bro. Fuck you. Spazbo says, something wrong with that woman if she's never enjoyed Back to the Future. She's a bigger geek than probably all of us put together. She's enjoyed a lot of motion pictures and comics and manga and all that shit. For some reason, she just didn't know the quote. I don't fucking know. Grave Doll says, Jaff, show off the merch. The shirt looks good. I do like this shirt. I'm going to start getting more merch sent to me that we're selling on the site. I love this shirt because it's so fucking weird and creepy. See that? Check that shit out. It's a lady holding a head made of cake, and I like the blood, but it's really frosting. I don't know. I like weird shit. I really like it. All right. Brian E. says, to be fair, in terms of aging, I'm in horrific denial. KM0 says, I don't know who any of these people are. Sir, were you sent an email or a tweet that said the prerequisite for coming to the show was knowing everybody who I mentioned? No. So settle in, bitch. We're going to talk about video games. But what is his name? My God, the fact that I can't remember. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. If I get, it's ADD, no, I don't have HD, I have ADD. I don't know if this is early onset dementia. I cannot remember his name. I see him clear as day in my head. This is such compelling streaming. It's like, yeah, Jaffe, we've tuned in to watch you think about somebody you used to work with. I know, but I can't remember him now. Hang on. Steve, Big Steve, had a great brother who was an artist. They've been in games forever. There's Nafisa sitting there, and there's Andrea, and there's Steve. What is his last fucking name? I don't remember. I'll look it up later. God, that's horribly embarrassing, but I own my shit. Fuck you, Joe. Joe says Jaffe has dementia. Which one is Joe? Anyway, let's begin. Let's go to the Mike Shinoda thing, and then we'll get back on track. I want to talk a little bit about hey, that's not right, yo, so and so. I want to talk a little bit. We'll get to Mike Shinoda first, because I've been struggling trying to figure out the NFT thing, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on NFTs. I just want to, because Scott is here. Maybe he's like, dude, I left an hour ago. You're out of your fucking mind. Scott is here and he knows more about this shit than I do. But I was curious about. I've been curious because all the game companies are pivoting to NFTs, and I'm just like, I've still not had it explained. And then this is what Mike Shinoda of Linkin Park and what's that other band he's in? It's really good. Whatever. He Mike Shinoda if you know music and metal and all that shit or whatever. So hello, Musad. So he says there are some things people aren't explaining about NFTs. NFTs don't have to be JPEGs. Imagine taking your favorite skin from Valorant and using it in Fortnite and not paying extra because you own it, and then using it in Call of Duty, Minecraft, and even Twitter. So many possibilities, no? No! No! You're Mike Shinoda. How many people follow you? You're one of the most... You got 1 million followers. Linkin Park, Fort Minor. Come on now. Are you out of your goddamn mind? You can't do that. You can't do that, but he's not. It's not that Mike Shinoda's out there having a stroke. Mike Shinoda is parroting what a lot of people think, and this is why I'm going. Is this what people actually think is going to happen? Like if you watch Ready Player One and they go to some store and they buy the Zemeckis cube, and that Zemeckis cube can work anywhere in the metaverse? It doesn't work that way. It can barely. Brian E says that can only happen across the same company. Zero says, "Hey, easy. They're tokens that can't be funged." Excuse me, sir, I did not mean to fund your tokens. Can I make it up to you with, some tokens that are not fungible? But yeah, I mean, I don't, the idea that they can only happen across the same company, I mean, it is technically possible, but imagine what you would have to do. You would have to get, and you're gamers, you know this, but I mean, you would have to get some kind of thing that sits above every video game ever that runs in the metaverse and says, yes, we're going to allow you to come in. I've made a World War II simulator that's totally realistic, where you fight the Nazis, and it's very historically accurate, and it's a realistic simulation, and people love it. I'm going to come in there with my banana Fortnite skin, and I'm going to shoot the Nazis. No, you're not. Because the people who make that game are like, no, that's not what our brand is, right? So, fuck off. Now, you might be able to walk around the metaverse with some of this stuff, but it's not going to be functional. And even if how would that work? Take a gun like, take a gun from Halo. Oh, well, I bought the rocket launcher or whatever. And you take that into Doom Eternal, or even better, you take that into the fucking... Come on, what's the farm game? The farm sim game. Come on, the fucking the Stardew Valley. Come on now. It's not going to work, okay? So on one hand, I get it. People are talking about this shit. No one's explaining it well. Okay, fine. So then there's this other guy who follows me, and I read his whole thread. He's a guy named Kingslayer. And Kingslayer, I'm not going to read you the whole thing. I can link it if you're interested. Thank you so much, Noise. He's basically talking about, hey, people need to learn about NFTs and all this before they start criticizing it. They don't know. I'm tired of seeing people thumb their noses at it, blah, blah, blah. And then towards the bottom, he gets into, it's like learn and then speak. People fear what they don't understand. He says it's an unfortunate part of the world, which has been our legacy. It's tiring and detrimental to be ignorant on purpose. Learn and speak with purpose is how communication of ideas can make progress in a universe of uncertainty. Now, there's absolutely nothing about that very wise paragraph that this good sir, the Kingslayer, just wrote. I agree 100%. And I agree with the last thing he wrote, learn then speak. But how many times have a lot of us in very good faith been asking journalists, the actual companies, this stream, Twitter, explain it to me. Explain. Mike Shinoda's not doing it because he's out of his goddamn mind, what he's proposing. So explain to me, Kingslayer, and I'm not saying we're going to get into this right now. I mean, if somebody has a one-sentence explanation, great, I'd love to hear it. But explain to me, Kingslayer. I'm asking. I've been asking. A lot of people have been asking, and no one has any answer. It's like, if you're basically suggesting that the value is listening and you'll learn and stop judging before you know, I agree. But how many more times do I need to stand on a fucking hilltop and say, would somebody explain, not crypto, not blockchain, not metaverse, explain how NFTs and why NFTs are of value to video game companies? Why they can do with that what they can't do now? How it's going to overcome regulation, on and on and on. Where's that article? Where's that explanation? Instead, don't fucking try to shame people that are pushing back on a line of bullshit from people like Mike Shinoda, who's got 1 million followers. Explain the fucking shit. I hope it'll be possible in the future that games will be cross-compatible with all NFTs where you can import. Yeah, but you can't, Spaz. You out of everybody on this chat, you probably should know more than anyone because you play so many fucking games. What would that be like? What would that be like? it would ruin video games. Or you would basically have to tell every video game developer that your game has to accommodate every single weapon that ever gets made as long as your game is still active. Think about how ludicrous that is. And it won't fuck up the balance, and it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Okay. Right. Briney says there's a saying, you can't get diamonds from polishing a turd. The idea needs to be proven to be practical or just explained. Jonas says NFTs sound like a great way for artists to sell their works, with a way to prove someone owns the original. The game industry managed to take it and ruin it. I don't want to get all I don't want to get all into it. Only because we've had this conversation before, and all of, like it. We're gonna move on. All I'll tell you is that NFTs are, when they are explained like that about artists, sure. But then when people start to explain, oh, well, NFTs are actually, you don't own the rights to the image, you just own a receipt to the image. Who gives a shit? We're moving on. All right, NFTs. I'll talk about it if you guys want to. I don't want to belabor the point, and we have a lot of other stuff to get to. We're going to get to the goddamn Dead by Daylight story today if it fucking kills me. Oh my God. Okay. That's some good bubbly, baby. Oh, shut the fuck up or I will cut your voice box out. Hey, listen, says KM0. I don't mean to change the subject, but I just got a friend request on Facebook from a dead guy. How do I approach? Are you saying the invite to be a friend came after he was dead, meaning he sent it as a ghost? Or are you saying it was an invite sitting in your box from a week ago and he died yesterday? I personally like to, I'll be honest, we're not going to derail it. We'll get to Phil Spencer in just 1 second. Oh God, no, that's not even, I'll get to that in a second. Let me put it on the screen so don't forget. I like to go, like I have a friend who died when, that I was good friends with in high school and junior high and growing up. And I will still go, to his Facebook page, because I will post on it on his birthday or just when I'm thinking about him. And it's a good place for friends that grew up with him or family or whatever. From time to time, if you're missing him, you go there and you commiserate with fellow people who are still mourning these folks. So I would go to it if he was a friend that you like, and become part of the community from time to time. It's actually somewhat healing. Now, if a ghost did it, that's fucking awesome. Zav says, why is it so hard to comprehend that game assets are not compatible unless it's the same engine? That doesn't even really matter, but I mean, that's not even... Okay, let's assume that's totally true. There are exceptions, but even then adjustments need to be made to make them work in a different game. And then Spaz says, I'm not saying this is possible now, but in the future there can be NFTs that are cross-compatible with games like VR Chat and Tower Unite. That is totally possible now. But that's not what Shinoda and people like Shinoda are saying. I think... Okay, hang on. I gotta see if this works. Please work. Please work. Please work. Please work. Come on. Come on. I'll give it a second. In the meantime, you can do that now. I mean, we did something kind of like that when we did Drawn to Death with Guns Up from Sony, all from Sony San Diego. But it's a huge fucking it's a huge fucking problem, and it takes a long time for one game. When you start saying you've got to start putting in all of this shit, like remember when you bought Warhawk and if you had Twisted Metal you got a Sweet Tooth skin? I mean, those are all months of work to get going, and now you got to talk about legal issues, and you got to talk about mechanics issues, tuning issues. It's just not happening. I mean, unless you're playing games that are simply 100 years in the future and they're all AI based sort of machine language games, and then they're writing themselves. Sure, I was waiting because I wanted to see the Diet Soda Soldier. We just got a new member, and I thought I made it work, and it didn't. It didn't work, the alert box. But Jonas Larson, thank you for joining the Diet Soda Soldiers, sir. I appreciate you being part of our merry band of fuck sticks. Take a sip of the pipe, a smoke of the pipe, buddy. And what you get for being a member. This is brand new. You see that wheel over there? I'm going to spin the wheel for you, buddy. Whatever the wheel lands on, you will get. Okay? I won't. Jill's coming tomorrow. If it's something I got to mail you, it'll go out tomorrow. If not, we'll talk about it later because I do want to get the show started. But let's spin that wheel. This goes out to good sir Johnny Larson. Everybody give Johnny Larson a picture. Taylor Swift, Melissa Benoist, and me, because that's how it's going to be, fellas. Here we go. What you gonna get? What you gonna get? You get to smell my comics. Okay. I swear to God, there's good stuff on this too. How can you not love to smell comics? But there are design documents on this, and there's PlayStation gift cards on this. But you got smell my comics. It smells so good. This is only for our newest member, good sir Jonas Larson. Here you go, buddy. That comic's taken in. There's Captain America. Smell Captain America in all of his 4-print glory. I love it. It's phenomenal. There you go, buddy. You have just joined the Diet Soda Soldiers, and I appreciate you being here, sir. All right. Let us begin the show. Taylor Swift is homely? COVID should have killed you. Isn't that terrible to say? Brad had COVID. Brad Glasgow had COVID. Now I wish you would have died. How about that? How about that, you old so-and-so? Okay. How do you spend? You can't because you're already a member. It's only for new members, basically. Sorry about that. I'll spin one more time to show you guys the kind of stuff that's on there, though. Here we go. Let's see what else. This is what you would have gotten, but you didn't. You got the Smell My Comic. I mean, the best stuff is, it's harder to get. Come on now. All right, this would have gotten you a God of War design document. The original, the very first, not the original, but the very first God of War design document ever written. I would have printed it out, bound it, sent it to you in the mail. Alas, you got something better. You got to smell the comics. Let's begin. Phil Spencer said this today. Now, listen to me. This is interesting. Phil Spencer, in this really interesting New York Times interview in this podcast with Kira Switcher on her podcast, he gave a really revealing, interesting interview about a lot of subjects. And one of the things he brought up that is making some news today is he was theorizing or wondering, hey, would it be possible, would it be good, because they were asking him about toxic gamers and how to make the gaming space more friendly and whatnot. He's like, would it be a good idea, would it be cool if it would be cross company? So if you did some shitty things in Game Pass banned you, you would also be banned from PS Now and Sony and any of the other kind of people, Nintendo, that signed up and said, yeah, this person is not allowed. Now, I don't really think that is the best thing. The other idea he had was that what you could do is have the people that you don't want to play with attached to a list, and that list could then travel with you from console to games to PC to anything. So if Bukkake Drive-By is constantly talking about, having sex with you, as he is wont to do, you could say, I'm gonna block him, and that's in Halo. But he would also now be blocked in Forza. If you go over and play multiplayer, the new Twisted Metal, he would be blocked. He would be blocked on Steam games. It's, Doug says it's kind of like a United Nations of game companies. Brian E says it's a bit harsh. Let me tell you something. I really think we are going to be in a really interesting conundrum in 5, 10, 20 years when a lot of the kids that were alive only with social media come of age, go out into the world. The amount of psychological damage that a lot of this anonymous shit has done to people, I don't even think we've come close to really understanding how detrimental it is. And so my solution remains. My solution is always more along the lines of saying, if you post non-anonymously, like David Jaffe or Rob the Mod, or, you know, whatever his last name is, Chris Kerr, whatever, there are benefits to that. So it's not that it's punishing you for being anonymous, because I know a lot of people want to be anonymous, but it is rewarding you for basically putting yourself out there, because we know people behave better when they're not hidden behind a screen. And look, I mean, I know it sounds like, oh, it's just a fucking video game. This is chronic, man. It's Facebook, it's Twitter, it's Twitch, and we're going to talk about Dead by Daylight in just a second and how it's affected certain people there. I do agree. Thank you for the sub over on the YouTube, SSH77 of the Connecticut 77s. I do agree with Zaf. It says it's kind of problematic that you can be banned across all platforms for saying things that people don't like. I mean, there are so many problems with Phil's, and he's just kind of throwing it out there. He's blue skying. I think anyone who thinks about cross-platform bans for more than 5 or 10 minutes or 2 minutes, whatever, would go, yeah, that's probably not the right solve. But I do think there is going to be more and more the number of people we have who suffer from this sort of anonymous bullying. Yeah, Zaf says the craziest thing is the number of kids who have committed suicide, and even adults, because they were cyberbullied. I mean, it's, you know, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And it's real pain. I mean, we live on the internet, especially with the pandemic. Companies get more data on you if you start using your real info. That's kind of a different stream, and we can talk about that later. But my gut reaction, which I know my brother hates when I say, is who cares? And I don't mean that like, I'm not like, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, don't worry. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, you know, great. So you know what kind of dish soap I use. I'm not saying give them access to my internal microphones and shit, but it, you know, oh, Jaffe bought, you know, some candles that smell like, you know, bookstores from Amazon. Uh-oh, they got my data. So what? But I mean, again, there's going to have to be a solve, because we're heading towards some kind of real crisis of mental health because of this anonymous bullshit. Let's move on, though. Lego delays Overwatch 2 set over Activision Blizzard's. I had a guy who watches the stream, and he says, Jaffe, I don't like your stream so much anymore. And I said, well, what happened? What's going on, buddy? Because I always like to know. I always want to improve it, make it better. And he says, well, you know, you talk a lot now about sort of social justice issues and this and that and the other. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's important to me, you know, but I get it. I get it. I do think he's right that sometimes the stream can veer too much into me ranting about social issues, which I still very much believe in and support. So I'm going to try to limit it a little bit. We only have a couple of them today, and I'll be really fucking quick with it. Because I do want to make it a place where people who really love to talk games can come. Doesn't mean I'm never going to talk about harder topics, but I don't want to overdo it if I'm overdoing it. But Lego delays the Overwatch 2 set Activision Blizzard over Activision Blizzard allegations. And the thing is, the reason I bring this up is yesterday we had a conversation about Phil Spencer, who pretty much gave a non-issue, and even though he didn't backtrack what he said about that's all, folks, Activision, it was pretty much a very political answer that sort of whitewashed what he had said back in whatever it was, November, about holding these guys accountable. And so even though Lego is not going to lose the kind of money Xbox would lose if they put some kind of sanctions on Activision until they get their shit together, it's nice to see a company not just talking the talk, but literally saying, no, we're not selling your shit. Now, to be fair, Overwatch 2 is probably not a big selling set that, you know, it's not like they're canceling Star Wars. So I don't want to paint Lego as some kind of beacon of you know, good behavior. But I will say it's nice to see some action. That's all I'm fucking saying. Okay. Let's move on. This is interesting. So 2 quick things about Rainbow Six Extraction. The first thing is I like the fact that it's coming out with some good previews. A lot of the press got a hold of it last week, and they played, I think they were allowed to play 4 hours of this game. I'm not a Rainbow Six guy. I might try to be a Rainbow Six guy because I hear it's really fun. I just worry because the community seems like a bunch of assholes, and it's almost like playing a MOBA. It's like, oh, forget it, right? This is PvE. I think it's 3 to 4 players, and apparently it's a lot more friendly and fun, a little more arcadey, but it's still really good. The previews have been like, hey, this is a good game, so I'm excited. So this is a game that they announced is coming out, and this is last week's news. We had a big week last week, a Game of the Year awards and all kinds of interviews, and so we're just getting to this. But I haven't heard anybody talk about this, and I wanted to get y'all's opinion. Ubisoft says, hey, we're coming to Xbox. Ubisoft Plus is coming to Xbox, right? And then Rainbow Six Extraction is coming to Xbox Game Pass. It is definitely not, at least day one, coming to Xbox Game Pass. It's coming there, but they are bringing Ubisoft Plus, right? So Ubisoft Plus, if you don't know, if you're not looking at your screen, I am showing you. This is all of the this is all of the games that you can get. Ubisoft Plus is $14 a month, $14.99, and you can play as much as you want. They're downloadable. If you get it on Ubisoft Plus, I assume with Microsoft it's going to be downloadable or streaming. I have experienced it with the cloud with Luna, and I think maybe with Stadia, and so I wasn't obviously able to download it. And I enjoyed it for about a month, 2 months, and then I canceled it because I played everything I wanted to play. They do have a very robust group of games. Most of them I wouldn't want to play, but it's a good system for when they drop something brand new that you're interested in. Like, oh, I'll fuck around with the new Assassin's Creed, or I'm curious what this new Splinter Cell's about or whatever. Okay, fuck it, I'll play it, right? So it's $14 for all you can eat, and then you cancel it. It's not too fucking bad, right? So what's interesting though about this to me is that I don't understand this seems like Ubisoft, because of this, could almost be the first company to sort of shut down, not like EA Play, but because they're bringing this shit day one. Not Rainbow Six, but if you spend $14 on their games, I don't think most people give a fuck about renting a game or buying a game. Most people are, not you guys, you're hardcore, but most people are comfortable going, oh, I get it for a month, sure, and I'll play a bunch of other shit, sure, I'll do that, right? It seems weird to me now that you've got Microsoft out there with Game Pass and maybe Sony with their revamped service. We still don't really know too much about what's going to be on it beyond what we already know, like if there's going to be exclusives and stuff. It seems weird to me that Ubisoft would think that this is not going to have such a high churn rate that they're probably just going to eventually shut it down. Because if this is on Xbox, I'm already paying $15 a month for Game Pass. I would pay for a month, play what I want, and then, jump to the next thing, right? I'm not entirely sure I get why they think this is a good idea. It works better than GameSpy. It works fine. This works really, really good. I think you're thinking of Call of Duty Ghost. You might be talking to me. I'm not. I know what you're talking about, though. I give 6 months before they include this with Game Pass, says Ethan Jory. I don't think they will, because that would be even worse. I mean, ultimately, I don't think they need to include it with Game Pass, because right now their titles are selling day one. Valhalla sold more than any Ubisoft title ever. It's just weird to me that they would think I don't know. I don't know how this doesn't hurt them as an individual third-party publisher. These things are all, the reason you subscribe is because people have churn unless they're bringing brand new stuff all the time. Unless Ubisoft suddenly says, we're going to start adding a lot more shit to this that's exclusive, so you can only play it here, and it's not just their 4 or 5 big games they put out a year. This is totally going to be a victim of churn for 90% of people. And you have to think about how many people bought Valhalla or Phoenix Rising or Far Cry, that if this was an option for them, would have just, and this has been around for a little bit, but would have said, I'm fine. I'll basically rent it, right? I just don't understand it. A lot of people are still waiting for Beyond Good and Evil 2 and Skull and Bones. Sure. And when they come out, I will subscribe to this for $14 and I will play them. And then when I'm bored of them, which probably will be in a couple of weeks, I'll unsubscribe. And I will have paid $15 for 2 brand new $70 Otherwise, AAA games. John Weston, is what working? Is this working? There you go. Sanu.com says, so we're getting Ubisoft Plus, Game Pass, EA Play, PS Plus, yuck. Well, again, if you pay for Game Pass, you get EA Play with it if you get Ultimate. I don't plan on paying for the Sony deal anymore unless when my time runs out, unless these guys say, you know, you have to pay for it to play online or something, because their PS Now doesn't really offer anything too much. John Weston says the video won't load. What video? You got Phoenix over the holidays for $12. Yeah, but isn't Phoenix like last year's game? So anyway, there, you know, that was interesting. All right. Let's talk about the award nominations. Today, there were a couple of award nominees that dropped for the Game Developers Conference that's coming up, I think, in March, okay? I do not like the way this company, or this conference, separates indie games from big games. I think it's a really stupid fucking message. I understand it, but it's stupid. You're basically talking about the people who make the games themselves. These are, you can't get more educated than on who should be voting and nominating for things like best audio and all this shit, even best game, best design, than the people who actually do it and understand what an achievement some of these things were. You would think of all people, they would be able to say a great game is a great game. Yes, let's call out some indies because they don't have the marketing, but let's not separate it in the award ceremony. That just seems disrespectful to the medium as a whole. But let me tell you, best audio, this is the big awards, the important awards. These are the Game Developer Awards, okay? Oh my God, what's up with Adam Sessler? No, he said he will come on the show. Eric says, what's up with Adam Sessler? He was really being sarcastic when he said he would come on. No, I talked to him afterwards, private message, and he's like, yeah, I've got a lot of stuff going on, but I will come on. So we just got to figure out kind of when. Can we as hardcore physical gamers not get screwed over if a bunch of people go this route? Will physical prices come down? Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so at all, but we'll see. Okay, best audio, Returnal. I think that makes total sense. I would absolutely vote for that. Unpacking, no. Deathloop, Guardians of the Galaxy, no. This is Returnal's award. This has to be Returnal's award. I appreciate Unpacking. Oh, they had crazy sounds for every single item, blah, blah, blah. And I loved Unpacking, of course. But the idea that the quality of the sound, that was like you pat the guy on the head and say, wow, you worked your ass off. But the soundscape, even for lay people like me, of Returnal, and I don't usually appreciate sound, it just kind of is what it is. You can't not respect and be wowed by the sound in Returnal. So I think this is a lock for best audio. Best debut. This is a harder one. Kenna Bridge of Spirits, Valheim, Wildermyth, The Artful Escape, Sable. And they had some honorable mentions down there. Unsighted, that's good to see. I don't know. This is a hard one. If they're talking about best debut in terms of success and reading the market and having a big hit, it would be Valheim. If they're talking about best debut of a developer that kind of feels like they're almost going to be a big boy developer soon, then it would be Kenna. But I don't know how this actually I don't know what the criteria is, and trust me, no one else does either, because I fucking voted on these goddamn things. Best design, it's nice to see somebody at least have a best design category. Appreciate it, game developer or GDC. It Takes Two, that makes sense. Psychonauts, I haven't played enough of it to know. I'll leave that on the shelf. I don't know. I can't speak to that yet. Halo Infinite, I don't think makes any goddamn sense. Halo Infinite is brilliant because it refines and brings back what was already there. But I don't think it stands on the shoulders with these other guys, or stands neck and neck with these other guys, because there's not enough new stuff. Deathloop, I mean, we've seen the time thing before. I haven't played enough of it. Inscription, I need to play more of it. Resident Evil Village, come on, that's bullshit. Unpacking is a hard one. Maybe Death's Door I didn't like. Loop Hero. So this one's a little more murky. Innovation. It Takes Two. Wildermyth. Unpacking. Inscription. Deathloop. Okay, that's a hard one. Best narrative. This is the hard one. Guardians. Deathloop. It Takes Two. Psychonauts 2. Unpacking. They are all very, very fucking good. They are all very, very fucking good. That's going to be a really interesting category to watch. Social Impact Award. Yeah, I don't care. Best Technology. Whatever. Best Visual Art. Now, here's what's really interesting. Forza Horizon 5, Kena Bridge of Spirits, Deathloop, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Psychonauts 2. Then they had some honorable mentions. I think if they're voting for the best looking game, it goes to Rift Apart. If they're voting for the most creative art direction, it probably goes to, maybe Psychonauts or Deathloop. But let me tell you something that's kind of tragic. Let me tell you something that's kind of fucking tragic. So last year, the beautifully fascinating, creepy, interesting, oh yeah, you can't read this, can you? Hang on. What's the game called? The Little Nightmares 2 comes out. Wonderful, wonderful art direction. Well, it came out in December, right? So it missed the deadline for Keeley's Awards last year, and it was ignored this year. Just talk about art direction or visual art and not bring up Little Nightmares 2 is fucking moronic, okay? Especially if you're going to bring up Psychonauts 2, because one could argue, well, Little Nightmares 2 did what they did in Little Nightmares 1. I don't think they did it here as well. I never finished Little Nightmares 1. But so did Psychonauts, and that's sitting up here in one of the top 5, right? Well, then this award is December 31st. So if your game hit before December 31st, you could be considered. So it missed last year, it missed this year. This is one of the reasons, again, just because I think it needs a nomination doesn't mean that I'm right, okay? But it's very difficult, I think, to look at to look at Little Nightmares 2 and not see it on any of these lists and not question the quality of these nominations across all of these different award shows. Yeah, the Little Nightmare games are dope, says DDP, and just the visuals, the imagination on display is just absolutely is fucking batshit. It's fucking crazy. All right. Here we go. Game of the Year. This is what they say for Game of the Year. Inscription makes sense. Forza 5, RE Village, Deathloop, It Takes Two. I mean, why? Why is Forza Horizon 5 Game of the Year nominee? It's a wonderful game. I love it. Why is Resident Evil Village a Game of the Year nominee? Honorable mention, Halo, Guardian. This is just across the industry. It's a dumb fucking award. It's a dumb fucking way to give out awards. It is not based on anything other than the biggest fucking games. This is ridiculous. And then we go over here and it's just like, oh, here's the indie awards. Right? It's like Loop Hero, Unpacking, Inscription, Eternal Cylinder, Cruelty Squad, Unsighted. The fact that at least one, if not, well, one is, but the fact that most of these or a lot of these are not on that Game of the Year list is absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. It would be like, I mean, at that point, why not just have the People's Choice Awards? Why not just have any game over $80 million awards? Because this is what you end up with. It totally is like a bunch, they don't get, it's like, it's the medium you work in. Don't you see how broken this is? Look, I thought Cruelty Squad was stupid, but I'm not an idiot. A lot of people played it and thought it was really innovative and different and weird and wild. I guarantee you, the vast majority of people voting for the awards on the last page we looked at haven't even played Cruelty Squad. Most of them don't even know what it is. Most of them haven't played Eternal Cylinder. Certainly haven't played Unsighted. Give me a break, man. This is horseshit. Absolutely horseshit. Little Nightmares 2 was released February 2021. Yes, I understand. Little Nightmare, basically, if you're talking about Little Nightmares 2, it was a 2021 title, which means it would be up for this award. And it would not be up for, and it probably would have been up for Keeley's too. I thought it was in November, but either way. DDP says you think GDC would have better noms. It upsets me, I guess. I don't know why. I always say awards are stupid. I don't know why I care so much. It just kind of feels, like, I don't know. When I see people like who work in the industry, I expect better from them. I expect them not to be such fucking sheep that just are like, well, I only play console games and I didn't play most of them. I mean, let's be fucking clear. You guys know I have great affinity for John Garvin. I have great affinity for Jeff Ross, who were on the show last week. But even when we talked about what games are you playing lately, they're busy, they're working, they're developing, or they're trying to launch new companies or doing new designs. It's almost like, it's not like the movie industry where it matters if the actors vote for Best Actor. You can see all those movies. But I guarantee you, a lot of these people that we talk to and we talk about, you think they played these games? Most of these games? No. John Flattery says, I haven't heard of most of the games mentioned, and I haven't played 98, but boy, the conversations are great. I feel like I'm in the action. It's just, I appreciate that. It's just bullshit. It's just bullshit is what it is. Google says Little Nightmare came out in December, but it wasn't released till February. It doesn't matter. Ultimately, it doesn't exist on any of these art direction lists. Whether it should have been last year, although it shouldn't have, or this year is irrelevant. The fact is, it's not there. It's not there. Do you think Little Nightmares 2 was good enough to take it home? Not best game, no. But art direction? That game is fucking weird, man, and it's surreal and creepy and fresh and different. And you're going to put art, you're going to say Kenna Bridge of Spirits is better? I mean, it's only better if you're, and I loved the way that game looked, but there was nothing interesting or unique about it. It was just a well-executed visual. Ratchet really wasn't much different. It was just astounding to look at. It was gorgeous. So if you're basically just talking about quality, sure, okay, great. But if it's called art direction, that's different. And more importantly, then why don't you fucking label it? I mean, it's the last thing I'll say about it. We'll move on. But I want to show you something. Best visual art, there is no definition of what it means. As somebody who has been on these categories before, or in these panels before, I absolutely guarantee you that most of the people voting, if not all of them, don't know what it means either. And here's how I know it. If you're putting Ratchet and Clank up there, that's not an art direction nominee. That is a, oh my God, I've never seen a game this pretty before. Okay, that's fair. But then if you're putting The Artful Escape, if you're putting Genesis Noir or Sable up there as honorable mentions, or even Psychonauts 2, then it's clear that you are voting for or supporting art direction. And when you mix them both in the same category, what are we to take from this as a, what are you celebrating? We don't know. Joe Munger of the Florida Mongers, you know them, they're the ones who didn't pay their taxes and ended up killing that moose in Africa. There aren't a lot of moose in Africa, but they got the one there was. Joe Munger dropped super chat. Thank you, buddy. He says, no Japanese games, well won. Well, I mean, no, yeah. I mean, there's Resident Evil, but there were there a couple of really big Japanese games from this year that you think are missing? Atticus says I should check out Little Nightmares. Check out 2. 2 is a better game than 1. And I don't think you really need to have played 1 to... how many backdoor handles does one need to get their game nominated? I don't have a fucking clue how it works, man. It's just, and maybe the Oscars are the same. Maybe the Emmys are the same, the Grammys. It's just shitty. It disappoints me. All right. Let's talk about Mario Kart real quick. Hang on a minute. Let me just check something. Okay. Mario Kart, as you know, Mario Kart 9 is being rumored. They're saying it's coming out. It's rumored to have a new twist. Okay, they may tease the game this year. Hang on, let me get y'all's comments. I apologize for moving on too fast. I don't know, Jaffe, but devs get really excited when they win an award and are acknowledged for their efforts. That's got to count for something, right? Well, it doesn't count for anything. Only if it's never happened to you before. But once it's happened to you and you start nominating these things and whatnot, you realize very quickly that it's meaningless. It's kind of like, I mean, I can come up with some analogies that are not very tasteful, but let's just say that once you've been to that mountain, you realize that the mountain is not anywhere near what they pitch it to be. All right, you guys are saying Tales of Arise and Near Replicant came out. Okay. Okay, let's talk about Mario Kart real quick. And then Cannibal, I see you. I'll bring you in just a little bit. I just wanted to bring this up. Now, Mario Kart, yeah, it's weird Metroid Joe Munger is not on there. That's a good point. I didn't like Metroid, but a lot of people adored that fucking game. Mario Kart obviously is a massive hit. Mario Kart 8 is not only the best-selling Mario Kart of all time, they've sold almost 40 million copies. It is about to overtake the NES Super Mario Brothers game for the number 3, I think it is, of all time. So this is a massive fucking hit. And so I'm just curious about this because a lot of people have been speculating what this twist is going to be, okay? And it is interesting to me because I think when you come off of I think when you come off of a win like Mario Kart 8, right? 37.4 million copies. It sold astonishingly over Christmas. The boost in sales over Christmas was 3.5 million copies. It goes up Nintendo's all-time bestsellers list. It probably will never challenge Wii Sports, this article says from Games Radar, but it's not too far behind Super Mario Brothers 40 million. So this is going to be massive. It's going to be fucking massive. But so when you go in to make 9 and you say we need to put a twist on it, right? The last twist I can really remember was Double Dash, which I don't think was the best, anywhere close to being the best seller. And I didn't really care for it. I don't know what you guys thought. So it's like, well, what is this twist going to be? Now, some people have been speculating that it's going to become Nintendo Kart and not Mario Kart. So it's going to be like Smash Bros. I mean, maybe, whatever. I don't think that's enough of a twist to matter. I think if you really look at gameplay, there's the one that I heard somebody float, I forget who it was, but I'm sure a number of people are floating this, is go back to Diddy Kong Racing and basically do an adventure mode. So you'd still have the multiplayer and all that, but you would have more, you'd have bosses and exploration and all that with your kart. I didn't think of that, but I think that would be great. I absolutely loved Diddy Kong Racing because of that, but I never thought it was as good as Mario Kart. So that one's kind of now moved to the top of my list. The other two I was thinking about, because you don't want to change it too much that it's no longer Mario Kart, right? So you got to kind of find this sweet spot. You know, even Mario Kart 8 had modes in it that were different, but so it can't just be a mode, right? I mean, the obvious one to think about is what they did with Tetris and what they did with Bomberman, and kind of just do a battle royale. And I don't mean put 100 people on the track or 80 people on the track, although that would be cool. I think it would be fun to have a mode where you have 80 people on the track if it were possible. I don't know if it is. I mean, it is, but you'd have to lose a lot. And then you do that thing that a lot of games do that, like, you know, for the first 10 laps, you drop, or the first 7 laps, you drop, first 6 laps, you drop the 10 lowest. That leaves you with 20. The next 2 laps, you drop 5. That leaves you with 10, and then you have like a 2-lap race. You could do it that way, or you could just do it like they do Tetris 99, where there's just 99 battles happening, and when you win a lap or 2 laps or whatever the setting is, you get dropped into the next one, and you basically work your way up that way. I think that could be fun. I don't know if they would push Mario Kart that far. This one may be good or shit, I don't know. But I want to propose it to you because I think it's kind of cool. If you have 2 players in the kart, and I don't mean Double Dash, or whatever it was called. It's called Double Dash, right? Or Dash. If you have 2 players in the kart, and the main mode is you don't know when you're going, it's almost like a seat that has a pivot on it, like a Lazy Susan. So if I'm driving and I'm Mario and Peach is behind me, Peach has mini games to build the weapons or charge up the weapons. She can aim the weapons. It's not just like you drive, I'll shoot. There's more stuff she can do. Like if you get the banana and you do a mini game or something, the more you peel the banana and throw it, the more effective it is, right? Or if you've got the ink, the octopus ink, the more you shake it up in a mini game like, you know, WarioWare and throw it, it stays on the guy's screen longer. And then they're still aiming and shooting and all that. And you never know when it's going to switch. So if you and I were playing together, I'm driving and a turn's coming up that I'm prepping for, and suddenly we get a countdown like 2, 1, boom, we've switched. I think that could be really cool, and it would still be Mario Kart, but that could potentially be more of a mode, because again, when you're talking about a game that sells this much, I think you have to be real careful of how much you change it. But I'll look to the chat. I mean, somebody's saying we could race for NFTs like pink slips. Can you imagine? He's being sarcastic, but like Double Dash and Crash Team Racing, says Legends. I don't know. I mean, I played Double Dash, but that was all AI driven. I want to be in the stands for Mario Kart and mess up the drivers. Well, yeah, that'd be cool. Does Kratos eat bananas? Yeah, sometimes. Do they have bananas? Yeah, I'm sure they have bananas. But anyway, there you go. There's Mario. Okay, we're going to talk about Dead by Daylight. I've been trying to talk about this for the last week, and things just keep pushing it, and I want to get to it because I think it's a really interesting story, and it doesn't land where you think it's going to land, right? Because let me tell you what's happening, and then we'll talk about a little bit of the controversy, as the kids say. So Dead by Daylight, as you know, hang on. Okay. Dead by Daylight, as you know, they sell different killers from movies and TV and all that stuff. So they've had Michael and Freddy and all that shit. I think they did Candyman recently. I'm not sure, but I know they whatever. You know what they do. And a while back they had Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, right? And in kind of a really neat, certainly wasn't an Easter egg, but it wasn't automatic. I think it was like you had to unlock it or earn it. I don't play this game all that much, but I think it's really, really fucking cool. And the way it worked was there were like 4 people running from the killer, and if Leatherface got them, because in the movies he cuts off people's faces and wears them, you could unlock the faces of the victims that the other players are playing and wear their faces, right? And there's one of the characters whose name I think was Claudette, and she was a black girl. And if you unlocked that version of it, you could basically be Leatherface with Claudette's face, right? And so there were 2 kinds of controversy that cropped up. And I thought they were really interesting problems and worth discussing. Because the first problem that cropped up, I struggled with understanding and sympathizing a little bit. The second one made a lot more sense. But so the first problem that cropped up was there were a number of people, or some people, I don't know how big it was, but it was big enough to cause the developer of Dead by Daylight to take this out. So this got removed this week. That's why we're talking about this. And the first one was people were saying, oh, this is like blackface, and it's offensive because it's like blackface. And I struggle with that only because, I know what blackface is. I find it as highly offensive as a white guy can. And I imagine if you're a black person, it's triply, quadruply worsely offensive. I get it, but I don't think that's this, clearly. But it was interesting because, that almost seems like logical. And you have a lot of people saying that, right? A lot of people, even in the chat, are saying, right, Eternal says, so the black actress and character can't be represented in the game because of online outrage. Okay, so let me get to this. Because this is why this is interesting. I'm not sitting here trying to tell you, see, like John Flattery, I don't agree. John Flattery says the fact that he's literally wearing someone's face is worse than the offensive history of blackface. I don't think that's true. But, because blackface is something that people would go out of their way in order either to mock black people intentionally, or they're like, well, we're not going to hire a black person. I'll do it, and I'll be really offensive and all this shit as a white person. I think their heart was not in the bad place. Their heart was, this is what the guy does. He's a killer. Who gives a shit? It's not done to mock black people anymore. It's done to mock white people when they put on a white person's face. It just is what he does. And intellectually, that's correct. And that's absolutely, I can't fathom anybody who was designing this, developing this, thought anything else but that. But when you hear, there's a woman, I don't follow her, but Sister Karen, and she's got, I don't know where she's queued up to. Let me, but when I sat down, she has a video all about this, and I'll put a link if you want to watch it. It's interesting, but she has a video all about this, and it's one of those things where, as a white guy, I can sit here and say, like what you guys are saying, it's stupid. It's not really the problem. It's not really blackface. But when you have black people saying this is really offensive to us, I don't know. I personally don't feel that I'm in a position as a white person to say they're wrong. Who am I to look at a black person who says, I find this offensive, and as a non-black person go, oh, well, no, you're wrong. It's not offensive. It's like, I don't fucking know. I'm not a black person, right? So I'm a lot more. I'm like, look, whatever the people who say they're being harmed by this are saying, I'm fine going with. I'm fine going with. Frankie Bean says you need to watch the video of the black gamers complaining about it. That's what this is. That's what I've watched. I just think it got reset, so it's not going to show you where it actually should be. Let me see if I can get it where it needs to be. But the other thing, though, that I think most people would agree with, I hope this didn't get taken down. The other thing, though, that I think people would agree with is the fact that people were using this. Oh, here you go. Let me just play this clip. This is from Sista Karen, and I'll put the link in the chat right now if you want to watch it. Yeah, Eternal, I don't think anyone's saying it doesn't have a right to exist. Doug says being a white guy doesn't disqualify us from having a valid opinion. It's not that it disqualifies you from having an opinion, but it certainly should give you pause when the very people who are being targeted and or offended by it are saying this is a problem. I don't think our opinion should hold as much weight. It doesn't mean it should be discounted, but certainly if black people are coming together and saying this is a problem, I think it's weird to go, no, you're wrong. You're wrong to be offended. It's like, well, that's not my business. Now, Zaf says he's a black dude. I find it absurd for people to be offended. That's great. Then that's, but again, I will take the black community's take on this, just like I would take the trans community's take on something that was offending the trans community or the white Protestant community. It's none of my fucking business. But anyway, why is this actually controversial? Well, here's the main thing. So let me play this clip first, then I'll tell you. Because there were two things that happened with this, is what the problem. Are there any black gamers saying this is dumb and not offensive? There are a few, but let me show you this. Here's the clip.
No, we have to keep reporting. Their reports are
Damn it, Jaffe. Okay. What I was saying is, I was saying that what they're talking about is when people would wear this mask, it's not just that it was blackface to some people, it was the fact that they would wear this mask and they would then go up to streamers that were black, and they knew that because they were watching their stream, and they would do racist shit to them. They would attack them and they would call them really bad things and all this kind of stuff, okay? And so the ideal solve to this would be, oh, we'll just ban those people, right? And of course, that would be ideal. I don't think these folks here who do have a problem with it and support the change would have a problem with that. But listen to what this woman says, because it's like you can say it, but it doesn't make it so. Listen to this.
Characters, and then it's just like, yeah, but like Leatherface never did that in any of the movies either. In Texas Chainsaw, he only kills like white people and has their faces. He never has any form of black character that he kills and wears their face. So that whole argument of, oh yeah, he kills people and wears their faces, okay, but he never did that.
But the other thing that people kept saying, kept kind of condescendingly telling me is, we have to we need a better report system for behavior. That's going to solve this problem. And I'm just like, no. How, I just don't understand how you guys can confidently say this to me with a straight face, as if DBD can somehow create this non-racist utopia that the rest of society hasn't figured out. What do you mean, get rid of all the racists? Like, isn't it well?
It's not a reality.
Yeah, like,
Really not.
I was just like, I understand that racism happens. As a black person, I have something experience with some racism. But it definitely, like, the experience of me being thrown out of the game and called N-word, like, it happens pretty consistently with this cosmetic, right? And I'm like, no. Yeah. If they took it out, it probably still happens. Like, no shit. Like, yes, but at least I don't have to look at that grotesque thing coming at me too, like, exactly. While it's happening either,
But there you go. So they took it out. People are divided over it. Mr. K says, stop crying, guys. You'll be fine. Black streamers, you'll be fine. You make money playing games from your homes. Enough. I don't agree with you, Mr. K, at all. I mean, but again, I'm trying to pull out some of the progressive mentality, not mentality, but stories. So, but I have no problem if a bunch of black gamers who play Dead by Daylight got together and they voted, and the majority of it's still racist, but the majority of them said, we want it, we don't want it, let them decide, fine. I think it's just weird to have a dog in the fight if it's not affecting you. That's all I'm fucking saying. I mean, at that point then, anyway, there you go. Foreign users has stopped complaining about being offended. I mean, that's how things get done, though. I mean, they got this removed from the game. I agree that you don't have a right to not be offended, but you also, as a customer, have a right to call out things when they are offensive. Zaf says people don't need a character in a game to be called racist names. It happens in multiplayer all the time, regardless of the race. I know, and she's acknowledging that, but she's still saying it's offensive. If you don't agree, that's fine. You don't have to agree. I'm not going to sell you on this. I just thought it was interesting. I thought it was interesting that they took it out, and now it's interesting that it's causing some controversy. It's not about us coming to a meeting of the minds. You think what you want. We're not good enough to be able to play with a black character and mess it up. Well, I mean, that's the fucking truth. I mean, that's the goddamn truth. People are just racist assholes. Okay. Why did it need to be removed, says Eternal? Because I guess there was a lot of this evidence of people were abusing it. And it's kind of like Phil Spencer said yesterday about Xbox. He's like, Xbox is not a platform for free speech. And I don't think that's caused any controversy. I think that makes sense. Going to Disneyland is also not a platform for free speech. It's, you go there and everyone is promised a good time for what they pay. And so, Dead by Daylight was like, all right, well, the easiest thing to do is take this out. It's not going to solve racism, but it's certainly, we can kind of respect this point of view. I don't understand this don't just tuck your tail. I think that's such a weird thing, man. There's so many people who are so insecure about looking weak. Like, they think apologizing or walking something back is weak. You can be wrong sometimes. You will be wrong sometimes. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. The people who think somehow they say on this topic that aren't white are just like the guy yesterday that pissed off a woman that was the people who think, this is Dominique, they should, I can't read this. It doesn't make any sense. The people who think they should have something to say on this topic that are not white are just like the guy yesterday pissed off that a woman was in Spider-Man. I don't understand that sentence. I'm sorry. Morgan says, don't complain about things when you want change, except people being assholes. And Morgan says, no, Persona Royal 5 was a great change on the homophobia. Yeah. I agree. I agree. I think ultimately, look, times are changing and the games are adjusting in real time because of them. Not real time, you know what I mean? Okay. Let's move on. Let's talk about Andy McNamara that posted this today, or a couple days ago. I'm sorry. Jaffe, you don't care about China banning games in their country? Are you really? I talk about that all the time. Okay, let me reset. Andy McNamara used to be the game editor of Game Informer for the longest time, I believe, is now working over at the EA. He's got a very unique, odd title. He's the director of comms for shooter comments on Battlefield 2042. It's very strange, right? But as a lot of people know, Battlefield 2042 launched recently, and it has been and remains buggy as fuck. They, I believe, have threatened to shut down the subreddit because it was getting so toxic. And when all the EA Battlefield devs got back from the holidays, I guess Andy, who is their social media guy, or whatever his title is, it looks like he's a social media guy, says he got back to work today. I checked Reddit and Twitter, and Battlefield fans are pissed. We didn't do enough updates or communication during the holidays. Guys, people got to rest. We have things in motion, but we have to figure out what is possible. We will address it when we are 100%. Then he follows that up by saying, let us get back from break and get to work. Love you guys, but these expectations are brutal. These things you want take time to scope, design, and execute. And I don't have an opinion that, other than maybe social media for companies that literally are humans presenting as humans may very well be a mistake, at least in gaming. It should be the Battlefield account should respond, right? Because, you know, customers have a right to be upset. And customers have, they have a First Amendment right to express whatever the fuck they want. Oh, that's not First Amendment. Well, Twitter, no, it's not First Amendment. But customers have a right to be upset. They spent money, and they're upset with the game. They're upset with the quality of the fucking game. And I don't think EA or McNamara or any of these guys would say, no, they don't have a right to be upset. Certainly a lot of them cross the line when it comes to how they express it. But whatever, right? I think my solve to this is that you really need to keep the developers. This is not healthy for a game team, and it's certainly not healthy for gamers. And I don't know. I don't think the gamers are wrong to be angry that they dropped this money on this fucking title, but I think it's a little weird to be like, I love you guys, but these expectations are brutal. It's like, you're not pals. Maybe that's why it gets muddied. The water gets muddied because Andy, I don't follow this channel, but I assume Andy, like most social media people, joke with the fans and, you know, make them feel included and part of the team and, you know, all the, you know, in some ways. And a lot of fans eat that up and believe that. And then when they demand things, it's like, oh, these expectations are brutal. It's not a healthy relationship for either group to have, I think. I think game social media accounts really need to be run anonymously as just a corporate logo, and they should still, you know, be fun and all that if they can. But I don't think this is healthy, and I don't think you're going to stop the customers from complaining. And you're not going to stop the team from going online and reading about it, but it's just, I don't know. I did not like Andy's response to this. I love you guys, but these expectations are brutal. I absolutely know, as someone who's developed games, what he is talking about. Your goodwill that you've built up with social media only goes so far, and then you have to remember that people spent fucking money, and they're not really your friends if that's the only engagement you've had with them. And they spent real money on your product, and you're no longer talking to somebody in a fun way on Twitter. You're talking to your customers at that point. And Andy's not an idiot. He knows this. But the expectations are brutal. Just ignore the emotional part. Take the emotional part out of it. And just be like, we're getting back to work. We have a list. We'll get back to you guys in 2 weeks, and we'll tell you where things are at. But the brutal part and him letting his feelings kind of get reflected, and we're frustrated with you guys, I just think I don't think that was good. Now, I could never do his job. You guys know me. I'd be fired day one. I'd be like, go fuck yourself, motherfucker. But that's why no one would ever hire me for a social media job, and they shouldn't. DDP says Battlefield was a $70 online-only game, and it was a mess. Absolutely. Absolutely. And let me tell you something else about that. Fans are idiots. That's the truth. If you're a fucking fan of EA and you bought this game day one and you're upset, you have a right to be upset. You have a right to demand your money back. You have a right to shout from the rooftops. What you don't have a right to do is be surprised. Because this is kind of what they do. Right? I mean, they did it on Sim City was the first one I remember, and they just ad nauseum. They'll put out service-based games. They don't work. Most creatives are emotional, says Joker, so they use zero emotion when conversing with. So use zero emotion when conversing with your community. You're asking, yeah, because I think if you get emotional, look, if Sony, this is why, even though I hate certain people at Sony PR, I understand why I was a pain in the ass to them. Okay, because if you trot out developers at the right time, that's one thing. But if you basically let them speak for the company 24/7 on Twitter, they're going to get this fire hose of complaints, and they're only human. And what do you think they're going to respond? How do you think they're going to respond? I honestly don't see why creators insist on having social media. They don't insist on it. Most criticism people will have for you comes from people who have less knowledge than you. Well, look, I always liked, when I was making games, the connection, because I could handle a lot of the negativity, because I wanted the diamond that was buried in that shit sandwich of negativity. You go, oh, that's a good point this guy brings up. But I think when you're out there tweeting as the social media guy and you're like, kind of like, we have to take a break, don't try to explain anything. And I'm not saying Andy's wrong. If you were sitting at a bar with someone, you could explain it. Just like I made a video the other day or yesterday about Twisted Metal 2012 and explained, well, here's why you may not know this was buggy or that was buggy. But no one cares about your fucking life story. Nobody cares if you're taking a break. You know who was also taking a break? The people on vacation that bought Battlefield 2042 and spent $70 and were hoping to play with their buddies all across the world the day the game launched, all over Christmas break. And now they don't, and they can't. Bacon Magma says, wasn't Battlefield a full $70 on PSN and series systems, and customers are not supposed to be angry that basic features are missing? LOL. Devs and I agree. I agree they should be angry. And I'm saying the way Andy handled it, to me, I don't think is a good look. And I think what it says to me is nothing about Andy. Everybody would crack if they were in his position. But what it says to me about Andy and what it says to me about the job is that I think the way game companies handle social media really should change. I think they need to stop being so personal. Bottom line, people don't care, work harder, says Joker. Yeah, I mean, it's not their job to care. Unless you're going to basically say, okay, you get the game for free. People like Barlog, who can tweet about anything and still seem mentally healthy while being in a year-long crunch, aren't an exception to the rule. I don't think you can speak to anybody's mental health. I think that is a absolute fallacy. I will show you exactly what I mean, because I came across this today. I thought it was really interesting to me because, sometimes Twitter will serve up tweets like that somebody liked from ages ago. And I don't know if that means that somebody was just kind of, I don't know what it means. Like somebody was just going through all my shit and I have no clue. But Twitter served this up to me today, which was an article that was written back in 2011. And somebody liked it or retweeted it. And I'm like, it's some kind of algorithmic breakdown. But it was about an interview I had at PAX about Twisted Metal 2012. And let me just tell you guys personally, I absolutely, when I look back at this time when I was this guy, giving a lot of interviews, signing autographs, using social media to pimp out the products and stuff, I kind of cringe when I look back at it now, because I look back at it now and I say, it's not a healthy relationship. It's not a healthy relationship to make people wait an hour and a half for an autograph and to talk to them, and they get all giddy because they're talking to you. It doesn't do your own, meaning me, mental health good, and it's not good for these guys. You know, it's just there's something about when you talk about Corey's mental state that, I mean, Corey may have been able to handle it better than I did, but I look back at it now and I just say, I enjoyed a lot of the work and I enjoyed meeting a lot of people who love our games, but I don't like that relationship existing in our society. I think it's unhealthy and it's damaging. And so if Corey has been able to navigate it, I think that's great. But the older I get, the more I start to think the art form would be better off if we just kind of remove the developers as individuals from people's minds. When I go to Disneyland and ride a ride, I'm not thinking about who made it. I'm just fucking riding the goddamn thing. Drive-by says he cringes. Bukaki says he cringes at me now. If I paid any attention to you, Bukaki, maybe I would care what you just wrote. I think the way you are introspective about that time in your life tells me you're in a much better spot, says John. It bothers me. It bothers me. It was another time. Standards and understanding of the way things work were different, at least for the individual. Yeah, I could see that. Mr. K says I'd wait 67 seconds to meet me. I don't give a fuck. Fans need to stop attacking the devs and start slamming the heads in corporate who let it get released. Yeah, but they won't. I mean, that's the thing is, it's not going to happen. Fans don't give a fuck that Bobby Kotick is still, they don't care. They don't care. And so we got to stop pretending and actually treat it like what it is. I don't know. That's what I think. All right, this guy's been waiting a long time. I'm going to bring in Cannibal real quick. Hang on. One sec. Cannibal, are you there? All right, well, you're on. If you unmute, I'll be here for you for a little bit. Not to mention, says Eternal, people truly care and want a better product. They'd provide constructive feedback. Well, yeah, but I do think they have a right to be really fucking angry. They have a right to express that rage, especially if it, Steam's a little bit different. I don't know how EA Origins is or EA Play. I don't know. Well, EA Play doesn't matter. I don't know how EA Origins is. I know PlayStation Store is notoriously difficult to get a refund from. But I think absolutely that people should be allowed to get refunds as easy as you get them on Steam. Ryan P., thank you, buddy. He says, I'll play Battlefield 2042 on Game Pass for free in 6 months. I probably will too. Thank you for the super chat. Zavid says, the guy in the picture with me from Suspenders is probably cringing too. I could see that. I could totally see that. Bacon says, Mr. K, he should answer this question since he got nose surgery. I don't know if you're talking to me. I'll probably never play FIFA again, says John, because of EA. I was on a competitive online team for years. I had less than no life. Yeah, I don't know. All right. Cannibal Lecter.
Hey.
What's
Jeffy.
Up? Yeah, what's going on?
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you, sir?
All right. No, a lot of topics to cover. I guess two things I wanted to mention. Specifically, I wanted to talk about the Andy McNamara stuff. Number one, and I always remember how No Man's Sky and Sean Murray and the Hello Game guys handled all of that criticism. What they did was said, okay, we're going to work on it, went radio silent, came back roaring, and I think that's the blueprint to handle these types of reactions. Just ignore it and do the best work that you can ever do, and then come back. And if the fans take it, they take it. If they don't, that's it. And I think that's the relationship that should be the going back and forward. At the end of the day, they don't owe us anything, and that's the main thing. And I think that's the
okay. Hang on. They do owe us a product that works as they advertise, and if they can't provide that, they owe us a refund if you ask for it. But short of that, you're right. They don't. A good corporation will walk that line between going, look, we're not robots, we're people behind the scenes, but we're not your friends, and it's not because we're assholes and we don't like you, but it's because that kind of relationship can easily turn toxic Um,
Oh, it will turn toxic. It's gonna be the get me my burrito moment. It's like there are, out of the 100 individuals, there are going to be 5 that are going to be obnoxious, rude. They're gonna throw threats that shouldn't be even said, and it's an entertainment industry, and that shouldn't be hurled at these individuals who are literally crunching their way through, feeling way they through in the dark to create some form of art that increases the adrenaline level in a player. That's all it is, isn't it? It's like the endorphins and the adrenaline level needs to be increased through game design and art. And if it doesn't deliver that, if it delivers anger, they lash back out, and through that lashing, people get hurt. And it shouldn't be like that at the end of the day. Hello, Jaffe? I cannot hear you.
I agree. It should not be like that. What I think though is the console companies, and I can only speak to Sony. I've never tried to get a refund, but people have told me it's a nightmare. Spazbo just said he had his account blocked because he tried to get a refund from Sony and he wouldn't pay the money, so they blocked it until he paid the money. His account. I think the best thing that needs to happen is all the things that you've said. The companies should communicate, but they've taken it too far. But the companies also need to be able to be, or at least the console manufacturers need to be giving refunds easier. Because then it's just like, oh, you didn't like it? I'm sorry. Here's your money back. That seems respectful both ways. But if you give people money and they won't give it back to you, and then they have the gall to say, hey, take it easy on us, we were on break. It's like, fuck you. What do I care about your fucking break? I was on break too. I had 2 weeks at home with my kid. And now he's back in school. We were going to play the fuck out of Battlefield together. Guess we're not now. Hope you enjoyed your break and my $70 that I can't get back. That I don't go for. That I think's a problem. And I don't think that's entitled gamers. I think that's the refund policy needs to be easier.
Yeah, I think so. And I do agree on that one. Now, my second point is, I was going to say, when you were mentioning about best visual art, yes. And I was having a look at the GDC list and just, just palming my face looking at it because, Sable, Returnal, or Artful Escape, some of the, what was now the Inscription. Mm-hmm. And I do feel like, and I wanted to ask you this question. Who do you think, which studio or artist is the current Vincent van Gogh of the gaming industry?
I'm sorry, the Vincent van what?
The Vincent van Gogh.
No, say it again. Say it again. Say it again.
Okay, Vincent van Gogh.
No, say it the way you did before.
Vincent van Gogh.
Oh, creepy. All right. What does that mean? Are you talking about the art style that most reflects Vincent van Gogh's work, or are you talking about
I'm talking about that is currently not appreciated, but in time, in 20 years' time or 30 years' time, it would be regarded as something that is a masterpiece.
Oh, I see. If you're talking, are you talking visual art or gameplay art or the art form of games? Or are you talking just visual?
Like, it's your opinion, and I think it's a great point to start a conversation in terms of who is currently underappreciated that we should be elevating at the end of the day.
All right, let me think for a brief moment. I don't know. No one comes to mind. That's probably because I don't know who they are. That doesn't mean that they don't exist. But does anyone come?
I think that's my. Yeah, I think that's my point. I can mention, Double Fine, Psychonauts guys, but they are recognized in here. I was a little bit disappointed that Returnal didn't get nominated in Best Visual Arts.
Right.
The reason being is if you've gone into the later levels, it's a Starry Night in motion, over the road. So. But anyway, that's just my opinion.
Okay, all right. Well, I appreciate real quick.
One thing.
Yep.
That's a bingo.
Ah, you did it! Somebody said he better fucking say that. Thank you, sir. Call back anytime. Always good to talk to you.
All right,
man. There he goes.
Bye.
Let me get some of these chats that were interesting. Hang on. Oh, I gotta get a new mouse. I'm buying a new mouse tomorrow. The Citizen Kane of video games. Which game is the Citizen Kane of video games? Super Mario, or whatever it was called. Mario 64 is the Citizen Kane of video games. When refunds get easy, games will be constantly delayed. Maybe, Frankie, but that's what you need to do. You need to fix that problem. And somebody said, oh, well, it's the refund's more about where you buy the game at the store. I'm primarily talking digital. I think you can go into Walmart if you bought a game you don't like and return it. I don't know, but I'm speaking more to the refund policy of Sony and Xbox and all that. Eternal says his biggest criticism of Sony is their piss poor refund policy. You can't even download the game or you won't get a refund unless it's under very special circumstances. It's like it is a little stupid. I mean, Sony should do better, or Phil Spencer's probably in a better position. Well, no, because they don't sell their shit anymore, but if you, yeah. Okay, Origin has refund policies like Steam. They are easy to get the refund on an EA game. Okay, so if it's easy to get a refund from Battlefield, then the response should be, I'm sorry you're not enjoying it. We are working on it. We will improve it. We have a history of improving our games after launch, but if that's not acceptable, allow me to direct you where you can get your money back. Otherwise, you're just on the phone abusing me, and I'm not going to put up with it. Thanks for calling EA. Bye. Then that's great. But I would assume most people bought Battlefield, like if you bought it on PlayStation or Xbox, you bought it through the Xbox or PlayStation store, correct? Sorry, I'm reading this. Morgan says, good, delay the games, release them when finished. They would, if you people would stop buying them. If you'd stop buying the games before they're from companies that historically disappoint you, all you're doing is telling them how you want to be treated. Why don't Sony or Microsoft charge massive fees for big patches to encourage publishers to release functional products? Why would they? They're in it together. Sony releases massive patches. Sony says, if we can make sure the game that comes out on our system gets the best reviews and most people playing it, it's going to get a lot of sales, which means we're going to make a lot of money. Sony's not being hurt because Battlefield. Sony's not being hurt because CD Projekt Red, because of Cyberpunk. So it's win-win for them. So Jonas says, yeah, he got a refund on Battlefield in 20 minutes through Steam. Oh, yeah. I mean, Steam is wonderful. And, whatever stats you think you can show, at least the way my behavior is, I do refunds on Steam all the time. And I don't think I've ever asked for my money back. It goes into credit. And I spend more money on digital Steam than anything else in terms of with my computer. So it makes me a loyal customer because I can, not because I'm like, oh, they're treating me well, but because I know that if I make a bad decision, and there's really no way to know when you're buying a video game, you can watch YouTube. You don't know how it feels. You don't know what it is. Then at that point, I go, oh, I feel comfortable buying here because they got my back in terms of their policies. I don't think we're friends. Doge is here. Doge says review embargoes need to go. Reviewers can help save people from bad buys of broken games. Sure, but I mean, you're not wrong, but they're never going anywhere unless there's regulation. Why would a company lift up their skirt and show them what they got before they're ready if they know that the person who plays it is going to talk about it? Then you would just not show them. You would hold it. I get that some people care, but most people don't care enough to have it change their buying behavior. What games have I asked for refunds on? He's asking. Okay. Recently, I got a refund. There's probably a list, right? That they. What did I get? I got something recently. Oh, that game that was like the SWAT game, really intense, really focused. I made a video about it. It's like a third. I think it's third person spiritual successor to SWAT. It was, and I wrote it down, and I didn't know these went into the reviews. That's why my review for Cruelty Squad, which I also got a review for, I didn't care, but I didn't know anyone was going to see that. But when you say, here's why I want a refund, I guess that goes to the developer, and it might get put in the comments, whatever. But I got a refund for that SWAT game. I got a refund from Cruelty Squad. I got a refund. I probably get 10% of the games I send back. But I always buy something else. Either way, says Churros, most of the people who buy Battlefield probably don't even know there's a bunch of people on the internet engaged in an emotional argument with Andy. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the other thing. Ultimately, money talks, and I know that I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm saying some hard truths. You know that. Of course, money talks. That's all that really matters to him. You know, the reason Bobby Kodak's still there. Nobody cares. They care about their money. That's it. These are not good people. But to be fair, most people who are suffering under unregulated capitalism can't help but behave this way. Because what are we going to do? I don't want to get progressive. I'm trying not to. All right, fellas, that has been Gabbin and Games for the 11th. Are we on the 11th? Have we made it to the 11th? Look at us go. December 11th, fellas. I will be back tomorrow with another episode. In the meantime, Bukaki, thank you as always. Robert the Moderate, thank you as always. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Somebody asked me, they said, can you do an early stream once a week for us early birds? So I'm going to try one time this week to see if I can make that happen. Bacon says, Jaffe, what are your thoughts on Brazilian butt lifts? Are they okay since they fat transfer, or bad since it wasn't earned the right way? I don't know what that is, Bacon. Warwick says, this debate reminds me of how the Severin films fucked up the transfer on House of the Edge of the Park Blu-ray. There's very little in that sentence I can respond to because I don't know what you are talking about. All of this seems to be because of ignorance and how capitalism works, says Mark. I mean, it's greed and fear and blah. It's same old shit, man. Same old shit. I don't want to be a broken record. Anyway, that's Gabbin and Games. Hello, SM. Good to see you, buddy. That's Gabbin and Games. I'll be back tomorrow doing something. I'm going to try to timestamp this tonight. I will be putting up a members only video tonight or tomorrow. Not sure about what I'm going to do yet. But we will see you soon. Jaffe, I wanted to ask something in the voice call but can't connect. Oh, well, go ahead, Spaz. Ask it now. What's going on? When am I playing Destiny 2? I mean, I'll play it if people want to play it with me, but I'm not going out of my way to play it. Hey, look what Rob did. He's poo-pooed all over the screen. Is it worth buying Dying Light 2 pre-order? What a stupid question. You've just listened to this entire stream and you have to ask me that question? I wouldn't touch that game with a fucking 50-foot pole for the first month unless it comes out and the reviews are great, or you buy it on Steam and you can refund it. Always hearing gamers complain about getting refunds from PlayStation and how it's a nightmare. To be honest, I've never had an issue with any of my refunds. Yeah, I've never asked for refunds. So, do I want you to timestamp it for me? I would love you to timestamp it for me. But you know what I would love the most? Does anyone know? Because I struggle with this because Mr. K, you know, I would love to pay someone to timestamp these fucking things, but they would have to watch the whole fucking thing. Because these things need timestamps. Not all of them, just the Gabbin and Games. But I don't know, you know, I don't know where to find somebody. It's like every day you got to watch the whole fucking thing and then I'll pay you to timestamp it. It's a lot of time. Spaz says, I was wondering if you were going to get a refund on Carnage Cross. No, I know it has some problems, but once I get used to the weird control, I was having fun. No, because honestly, I don't want to be so bold as to assume I can help that guy out with my feedback, but it is early access, and I made a video for him that was like, look, here's what I think of the game. There's definitely some stuff I like about it. There's a lot that I do not think is there yet, But no, I wouldn't get a refund from that. That's a very early access game. I knew what it was. No, I would not ask for a refund on that at all. Dying Light 1 is the greatest zombie survival game ever. Dying Light 2 will definitely be great, says SM. A lot of people say that. Rob the Mod says it. Rob the Mod, you'll do each episode for $50. That's a little too rich for my blood. $50 per episode. I'll $50 is not too rich to pay a producer and more. But for time stamping, I mean, you're talking about, I don't know, we'll talk offline. Or Bukkake, I'd love to pay you to do it. But you got to hit me up with something that's not $5, $10, $250, $300 a week for time stamping. But I want to pay a good rate. That seems excessive. Yes, Doge, we'll put Winnie the Pooh in the new one for sure. Your thoughts on the Horizon leak, says Rob. I don't care. I mean, it sucks it leaked, but I don't plan on playing it until it comes out. I don't need to know anything about it. So it sucks when things leak, but anyone who's going to be a fan of that game is going to be a fan of that game. It's not going to be like, oh, you leaked it. Just avoid spoilers. It's only another month. I need to try. Yeah, Cheddar Bob says Dying Light is trash. I need to try Dying Light again. Rob's been telling me how great it is. I played it on the stream, but as I've said recently, I'm finding more and more that that when I play something on stream that's a game like that, I can't really immerse myself. So I'm gonna try Dying Light again. Matt Swanson, I love you right back. Let's make a baby. Jaffe, what do you feel about a finished release game which after you buy it has modes listed in beta? What? Jaffe, so this is from Sharu. What do you feel about a finished release game which after you buy it, it has several modes listed as in beta? Oh, I see. The only real answer I can come up with on that is I think if the product, like I'll give you an example. Sony Pictures is releasing extended cut of Spider-Man No Way Home. And in that, they're going to put it back in theaters, and they're doing it, I think, to try to get the number one movie of all time or to get to number 2 or whatever. And on one hand, it's like, oh, Jesus, I just fucking paid you guys to see the movie. Now, a month later, you want another $15, $20, including all the other shit that comes with it or not including. It's kind of shitty, but at the same time, you don't have to go see it, right? But in terms of buying a game that has content that's not finished, I think the point I was trying to make is that if you saw No Way Home, the first one that came out without extended, and you enjoyed it, and you feel you got your money's worth, then the transaction's done. If you bought this game and the stuff that's not in beta is good enough for what you spent, then the transaction's done. But if you feel that the stuff that they're saying is not quite done, is clunky, and it's part of the main product, and without it, you would have overpaid, then I think that's a problem. I think you have to look at those individually. I don't know what WikiFeet is, Joj. What is WikiFeet? Do I dare look it up? That's not a bad idea, Rocker Matt. Well, here's what I'll do on the stamps. I'm gonna look around and get some. I'm gonna get some going rates because I want to pay a fair rate. And I also I might want to merge the person who's doing that with a person that I can hire to edit the highlights of the show. So that'll give me freed up time to prep the next show or make members videos or stream games. So I want to kind of see what the person who would do both would charge and if it's something I want to pay and can pay. A beard brush? No, I don't do anything with this. I know you can, maybe if I still have it, when I feel comfortable going to a barber, I'll have somebody do something, nice with it, but I don't really pay any attention to it. The reason I even have a beard is just because it's, it's easy. Look what I can do. I'm the lady. Hello. I'm carrying someone's head. Hello. You can do that too. Wink. All right, fellas. I'm out. I'm tired. We're going to go watch some Dickinson. Me and the family have been watching Dickinson lately on Apple TV. It's good people. It's a great fucking show. John says, make Rob do it for free. A, I wouldn't do that. B, he wouldn't do that. And C, what a horrible thing. What a horrible thing. You can get sued by that shit, man. You got to be careful. If anybody's interested in editing this shit, and I don't mean editing it, but I mean like picking out the highlights and cutting out the fat from the highlights. Fuck you, Bukaki. I know it's coming. What, are you going to cut out Jeffy? Fuck you, you fuck. And doing timestamps. Hit me up on DM on the Discord and let's see if we can find a price that's fair. Bukaki, do you edit? Oh, Joe D. Afterlife with Ricky Gervais. That's a fucking great show. Both seasons, man. Who's the pretty lady on the screen? Me? Oh, fuck you, Captain Melvin. I ain't doing NFTs. All right. Yeah, fuck yeah, Mr. K. I would appreciate that. Thank you, sir. All right, fellas. Bukaki, let me know if you actually edit. I missed your super chat encryption. Hang on. I'm not going anywhere without that super chat. Hang on, pal. Oh, I can see here. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, buddy. Thanks for letting me know. I think it's hard to hate on the heads and corporations because they aren't on social media talking to people at all. So there's not a person to hate. I mean, that's a great point. That's one of the reasons they kind of keep them, you know, they're like, look, why would you do that? Right. I mean, but they also have PR people constantly. And again, that is what McNamara's job is. He is a social media guy. Oh, Haley Steinfeld. I know. She's my new girlfriend. Need to make an icon of her. I would love that. Whoever edits your video means we get membership for free. As soon as fucking YouTube gets on the ball, and they are getting better because they're starting to make inroads into Twitch in terms of live streams. But as soon as they get on the ball and let us gift or just pay for someone else's membership, I will do it. Rob needs one. Bukaki needs one. It's ridiculous sometimes those guys pay for a membership. But I can't provide that. It's insane. All right, Joe, good to see you as always, buddy. I hope things are going well for you, man. All right, but I am going to go. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Bukaki. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, members, so very much. There's a new member video up in the member section. If you're interested, it's like 40 minutes going through this new car combat game. If there are videos that members are interested in me making that are just for the members only section, hit me up in the Discord, hit me up on Twitter. I'm absolutely happy to do those, and I want to do those for you guys and ladies, but you got to let me know what you're looking for. Otherwise, I'm just going to make shit and hope you like it. So hit me up. In the meantime, I'll talk to you soon. Bye, all y'all. I bet some people are still watching and they're like, I thought it was over, and it is over, but I think some people are still watching, and now what are they going to do? I will not click the stop button. I will live here on this screen. Joe, you missed game night? We'll do game night. Let's do one soon. Let's do one. You guys hit me up. Members hit me up with what we should put on the game list, and we'll do one this week, next week. There's also going to be a lunch with Jaffe this week on Friday for Cult of Calypso and higher members. Do not forget. Hello, Chongo. Chongo. Oh, okay. I put up a new picture for you, Chongo. If you're happy with the picture I have, it's a nice picture of you and your wife. That's the one I'm fucking using. But let me know. Max Ankar is here. How are you, Max, man? How's life? I see you've been snowboarding lately or skiing lately. The can does look pretty, doesn't it? John says, keep talking to me. Okay. What are you wearing? There's Rob putting up his piece of shit. God damn, Rob. God damn, Rob. Come on now. My name glows orange when you at me, says Legends. Ooh, I want to do it. I want to do at Legends. Did that glow orange? Somebody at me. Because I think that's why sometimes if you at me, your chat will be yellow. And I'll always get confused because I'll be like, why is that chat yellow? It's not a member chat. It's not a paid chat. What is it? I bet you that's what it is. Imagine if Bukaki clips the show to only mention times he swears at commenters. Oh, I'm sure. What's the problem streaming on Twitch? It's not a problem. It's just that I've been building an audience on YouTube for over 10 years. And, so most of my videos are here, and it's kind of a one-stop shop over here. It's easier for people who like my shit to find me over here. Twitch tends to be, not that YouTube's not young, but Twitch tends to be very, very young. And so that's the main reason. I like Twitch, though. I used to be on Twitch, but I can't stream on both and keep my monetization going. I did try. You know what? I do think maybe I could do the main show on Twitch, though. Maybe I'll try that tomorrow. It's not very good. It's not Yellow Joe. Interesting. It might. I don't know why that is. I'll call it out the next time it happens. See what someone did. You're not spamming, Mark. Maybe the reason I didn't do dual streaming, I don't mind losing my monetization on Twitch, but it was that the frame rate wasn't good. But that's when I was playing a game. So I might do a test tonight or tomorrow and try to stream on both and see. Oh, really, Rob? So you're saying as a mod you can highlight someone's chat so I see it? Are you shitting me? That's great. I didn't know that. Do it. Yeah, John, I agree. I also like that it retains. I know you at me, Mr. K, but it's not. I'm trying to see about this highlighting thing that Rob is talking about, because sometimes I will get a visual on my screen that is colorful. Not very colorful, but it's like, orange or yellow or whatever. And I'm kind of like, what is that? What is causing that? And Rob is saying that mods can highlight. You're highlighting the name David Jaffe. I'm talking about the entire box gets highlighted. Highlights. No, that's just me clicking on you, but it sounds like Rob or a mod can bring it to my attention. That's what it's, but I don't know if Rob's gone. I think Rob's like, fuck you. I'm dropping the hint and then I'm leaving. Fuck you. Yes. Rob, are you there? I can highlight my chat. Oh, then yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. All right, fellas, I'm out. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, everyone. I really am out this time. Not really. I'm not really. I am. Goodbye.